Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, coming to you from the Campbell's Custom Care Studio.
Thanks for joining us here at Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. We're talking about paint chips, and I know if you're like me, one little paint chip is going to keep you up nights because you know it's going to mean a costly trip to the shop. It's going to be in for weeks, but that's not really the way anymore. Thanks to Cozmo Recon. How is Cozmo Recon different from the other systems out there, Zach?
It's a very good question. So the number one thing that stands out with our system is our color matching system. With this system, we can match over 8,000 colors and variants and match any color of car with a simple color code that you find on the side of the door jamb. We're able to make multiple different amounts with this, and we can convert it from an acrylic to a urethane and also make a single stage color for spot blends and other repairs.
8,000 different colors, that's amazing.
8,000.
I've seen other ones out there that have prescribed colors. You can only get what they're selling.
Right.
So you can mix any variation here.
Exactly.
What's the process like to make those mixes?
Once you find the color code from your vehicle, you're going to go to our color database system. You're going to put it in, and it'll give you multiple different variants for that color. You're going to come to your bottles here, and they each have a specific color code right up on the top. What we are going to do with that is follow the recipe, as we call it, and it's going to give you the different way out to each individual color to get your exact color match.
And we're going to see two different processes here. First of all, this brand new car over here, you put a big gouge in the side of it. We all gasped when you did it, and you made a fix to that. We'll talk about that process in a second. First, let's talk about paint reconditioning here, Lindsay. This process is used for these little chips and things we saw when this vehicle came in here. It's the sandblasting on the front of it. How does this process work?
So this is a little bit different than traditional touch-up where you just dab the big spots that you would see. This process actually fills in about 90–95% of all the rock chips. It's a multi-step process that you get to achieve filling in the smaller chips as well as the bigger chips.
What are the steps then?
You prep the surface, and then you use an applicator pad and you rub in and fill the chips, and then you just take our erase seal and remove it, and anything that's on the clear coat will be erased.
So I kind of liken this to grout, where you grout over the whole thing. It
Exactly.
fills in all the cracks and all the holes in this.
Exactly.
Now, this isn't your full-time job. You're not an automotive person.
Yeah, I work in the office.
So you're not a body person. You were able to make this look this good. How long did it take you to learn this technique?
To be quite honest with you, I've probably done a handful of cars throughout my time with Cozmo Recon, just as demonstrational purposes, and it's really easy to learn and to do.
That's a process you can do at home, but here's one that's a little more complicated. Zach, how did you get the scratch out of there using smart repair technology?
So there's a couple of different ways that we can go about this. When we started off, we just simply grinded through the scratch. Depending on how deep that scratch is, we can use multiple different fillers that we supply with the kit to take care of that. Things like body filler, glaze, and things like that, depending on how deep that gouge is. So once we grind that out and level that out, we're going to give it a simple primer and give out the primer and cover any imperfections or any naked metal or plastic to make sure that our paint adheres to the surface.
And we should mention you did mask it because we did an entire panel here. In other cases, you want to actually feather that and blend this into other spots, but it lends itself to masking here.
Right, exactly. So once we lay down the primer, we're going to go to the next steps of we go to our color matching system, match our color.
And with your system, how accurate do you find the paint to be matched?
You know, with our system, I like to say we're at a 95% plus. There always are variants to a color. If you have your car in certain extreme hot desert areas, you can see fading in your paint surface over the years. So when we are painting and matching that color, we do have technology to be able to match that age of that vehicle.
You lay the base coat down with the paint, and then it's time for the clear coat to finish it off.
Right.
How many coats of that?
So it's simply going to go into 2 medium coats of clear coat. The clear coat that we offer with the kit is a speed clear, and it is dry within 5 minutes.
How does this compare to something you have done at a professional body shop?
It's very similar. They're going to go through much more procedures. They would be taking off the lights. They could possibly even take off this panel to prep this area. We do it right there on the vehicle. It is simple masking around the edges and making sure we get edge to edge, and we can do that without all those high-end expenses that a body shop comes along with.
All right, as we finish pulling the masking off, that is amazing how that panel blends with the other. You can't even tell the difference. Very, very cool. Now, who are the businesses that are adding this to their repertoire?
Now, we have a lot of different clients. We have a lot of dealerships that want to take this type of service in-house. We have a lot of ceramic coating guys that before we ceramic coat it, we want to do the paint reconditioning and paint repair before we lay a hard shell over. The clear bra guys that are out there, even to the hobbyist that's in a garage.
Well, if you want to add paint repair like this to what your company can do for folks, go to CozmoRecon.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com, so leave it right here.
The first steam-powered road-going vehicle was invented in 1769, and steam power remained popular for another 150 years. Early steam engines had boilers that had to be lit by hand and took about 20 minutes to build up pressure. Furthermore, steam-powered cars only had about a 30-minute supply of water on board. A far cry from the high-tech cars that we drive today.